Good morning. My name is Dave Harrell. I'm a worship associate, and I welcome you to our online worship service. The First Unitarian Church is a welcoming community, no matter your race, no matter your creed, no matter your political affiliation, no matter your financial situation, no matter whom you love, you are welcome here. Today we're pleased to welcome our guest minister, Reverend Andrew Weber. He will be speaking about healing ourselves and how to deal with our own pain. Just a reminder that our church will remain online at least through June 30th. As the coming months unfold, we will offer updates as they become available. Please see the June 12th e-news for other updates regarding our church. And now let us prepare our hearts and minds for worship.
This is one that you know. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of the evening. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again, come. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of the evening. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again, come. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, lover of the evening. Ours is no caravan of despair. Ours is no caravan of despair. Ours is no caravan. Whoever you are, wanderer, worshiping, lover of the evening. Ours is no caravan of despair. Ours is no caravan of despair. Ours is no caravan of despair. Wanderer, worshiping, lover of the evening. Ours is no caravan of despair. Ours is no caravan of despair. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again, come.
Come into the circle of compassion and care. Bring your worry and wounds, your longings and hope. With word and song, we rekindle the connection that soothes our tender hearts. With stillness and space to pause, we restore our strength for the work that must be done. The work of love, the work of waiting, the work of repair, the work of remembering we are not alone. Let us begin. Around the country and around the globe today, we join other Unitarian and Unitarian Universalists in lighting a chalice, the symbol of our free and living faith. I will light the chalice here while our worship associate Dave Harrell leads us.
If you have a chalice at home, I invite you to join me by lighting it. We light this flame in honor of all that leads us forward, all that leans down and helps us after we fall, all that reminds us why we started, and all that tells us there is still home and seeds of surprise even when no lights are in sight, even when warmth seems so far away. May this hour of tender and courageous connection help us fall in love again with this world. May it reignite our trust that the path ahead will be gentle. May it tempt us back to joy. May it leave us dancing to the lure of the emerging light.
Please join me in affirming the mission of this church. First Unitarian Church of Wilmington is a beloved community that nourishes minds and spirits, fights injustice, and transforms the world through loving action. This is an odd time because usually when I do a activity or a story, I'm able to have some response. So if you're watching online, which you are if you're watching this, if there's a little chat, feel free to respond. I won't see it, but the people who are watching with you will be able to see your reactions and your thoughts. So the Time for All Ages, my activity today is called Broken Vessels, and I call that just because that's what I have. I have 2 jars here, and I want you to imagine, you don't have to imagine the jar, here it is. Here's one of my jars. You can see it's nice, clean, has a lid. Now if you can imagine if I had a light in this jar, what would you see if I put a light in this jar? Well, with the lid on, you wouldn't see much of anything, would you? I'd have to take the lid off, and then you could see the light. And actually, you don't even know. Maybe I do have a light in here. You don't know. This is my first jar. My second jar here is a little bit different. Same style, a little bit bigger, but there's something else that's different about it. I wonder if you can see. If we zoom in, you can see on the top maybe. There are cracks all over the jar. And now if I had a light in this jar, which actually I do, and if I turn this light on, now what do we see? And here maybe I'll see if we can get some of the lights on me turned off. Look at that. Thank you. So you can see the light inside. Lights off, and then back on. And the only reason that you can see the light from inside this jar is because of the cracks, because of the holes, because of the places where it was put together, but not perfectly. The seams where it came apart, the little chips. Here's some chips here that were lost, maybe lost forever when it broke and was put back together. Thank you. You can put the spot back on. Perfect. And the story there, the sort of tale that we're learning is when you have those 2 jars, if we think of those as us, and if we try to be perfect and pristine and all kept up, then nothing gets out or comes in. It's like when I preached here before about masks, about boundaries, about thresholds. If we have a mask that doesn't let anything in and out, that's a lifeless mask. There's no relationship. There's no breathing. There's no life there. But if you have some cracks, some permeability, that's how the light can get out. And also how the light can get in. We'll talk more about that. And I encourage, if you want, to stay for more. But now, let us pray. Let us enter into a time of meditation, contemplation, and prayer. Feel the earth beneath your feet as it supports you. Feel the love of this community as it surrounds and enfolds you. Feel your breath as it flows in and out of your body. Listen to your heartbeat. Listen to your heart. And how is it with your heart? Does your heart feel whole, shielded by intellect, cocooned by reason, closed to feeling? Or is it broken, fragile to the touch, brimming with the pain of loss? Or has your heart been broken and healed so many times that it now lies open to the world, knowing that true growth comes not without pain, that tears may wear down barriers, and that we may carry the hearts of others, even when our own is too heavy for us to carry? None of us has an unblemished heart, not one. for such perfection can only be found in death, and we who are alive still have much to heal. So let us give thanks for the broken places in our hearts and in our lives, for it only is through such brokenness that we may truly touch one another, and only through touching one another that the world may be healed. Let us give thanks then for the brokenness that we share. Let's have a time of shared silence. Part of our worshiping together is sharing from deep within, that our sorrows might be lessened and our joys increased. You will be invited to call out into this holy space, into your holy space, a name or names of those you are holding in your thoughts this morning. It can be for prayers, for support, for joy, for happiness. Spirit of community in which we share and find strength and common purpose. We turn our minds and hearts to one another, seeking to bring into our circle of concern all who need love and support, those who are ill, those who are in pain either in body or spirit, those who are lonely, those who have been wronged. Please share the names of those in your thoughts today. We are part of a web of life that makes us one with all humanity, with all of the universe. We are grateful for the miracle of consciousness that we share, the consciousness that gives us the power to remember, to love, to care. Please join me in a time of musical meditation where we reflect on those who have been called into this special time. Our reading today is from When Things Fall Apart by Pema Chodron. Pema Chodron is an American-born Buddhist nun. Hear her words. We think that if we just meditated enough, or jogged enough, or ate perfect food, everything would be perfect. But from the point of view of someone who is awake, that's death. Seeking security or perfection, rejoicing in feeling confirmed and whole, self-contained and comfortable, is some kind of death. It doesn't have any fresh air. There's no room for something to come in and interrupt all that. We are killing the moment by controlling our experience. Doing this is setting ourselves up for failure, because sooner or later, we're going to have an experience we can't control. Our house is going to burn down. Someone we love is going to die. We're going to find out we have cancer. A brick is going to fall out of the sky and hit us on the head. Somebody's going to spill tomato juice all over our white suit. Or we're going to arrive at our favorite restaurant and discover that no one ordered produce and 700 people are coming for lunch. The essence of life is that it's challenging. Sometimes it is sweet and sometimes it is bitter. Sometimes your body tenses and sometimes it relaxes or opens. Sometimes you have a headache and sometimes you feel 100% healthy. From an awakened perspective, trying to tie up all those loose ends and finally get together is death, because it involves rejecting a lot of your basic experiences. There's something aggressive about that approach to life, trying to flatten out all the rough spots and imperfections into a nice, smooth ride. To be fully alive, to be fully human and completely awake is to be continually thrown out of the nest. To live fully is to be always in no man's land. To experience each moment as completely new and fresh. To live is to be willing to die over and over again. From the awakened point of view, that's life. Death is wanting to hold on to what you have and to have every experience conform to you and congratulate you and make you feel completely together. This reading is from a Buddhist perspective. So it may not surprise us that it talks about letting go of attachment to impermanence. For that's the essence of what Pema Chodron is talking about. She says, sooner or later, we're going to have an experience we can't control. Our house is going to burn down. Someone we love is going to die. We're going to find out we have cancer. A brick is going to fall out of the sky and hit us on the head. Someone's going to spill tomato juice all over our white suit. Or we're going to arrive at our favorite restaurant and discover that no one ordered produce and 700 people are coming for lunch. That's the essence of life, is that it's challenging. Sometimes it is sweet and sometimes it is bitter. Sometimes your body tenses. Sometimes it relaxes or opens. Sometimes you have a headache and sometimes you feel 100% healthy. And there's truth there. I don't feel the need to belabor this point. Have any of you recently had an experience you can't control, maybe in the past couple months? Maybe having drastic shifts in how we interact with each other and what is seen as safe or normal human interaction. Life is ever-changing. Life is hard. Those are almost givens. That's a given in life experience. Life is hard. But the fact is, we don't just experience hardship because of external circumstances. Humans are imperfect. The litany that Pema Chodron shares happens to be all outside events, but we could just as easily say, we are going to have an experience which we control poorly. We will fall back into habits of addiction. We will lash out with anger. An opportunity for connection will go unheeded. We will hurt somebody we love. we're going to spill tomato juice all over our white suit. That is where I want us to go, to that place of recognizing our own faults, our own imperfections, and our own cracks, our own scars. The facade that our culture tells us to put up is like the unbroken jar, perfect in its seal, not letting anything in or out. But in reality, we're more like the broken jar, with pieces that have come apart, some of which have stuck back in, some of which are completely missing, and some that don't quite fit back in the way they used to. We are broken vessels. No matter what we sometimes feel about ourselves, about each other, people are not perfect. And that may be obvious too. People are not perfect. But it can be really hard to live mindfully with that reality, with that knowledge that we are not perfect. I want to be perfect. I want everyone to see that I don't have scars, that I don't have heartache or parts of myself that I'm not proud of, or parts of myself that I'm even ashamed of. I don't want my mistakes shown to the whole world. What gets shared on social media? Usually the good, the amazing, the perfect. I can choose what to share from my life, and I can edit any photo of me that I wish to edit. Of course, I'm not going to write a status update about how I'm racked with guilt, and I'm not going to share a picture of me when I feel fat or ugly. But we can all think of our cracks. We can all think of our flaws we have or those which we think we have. And for the most part, I think it's easier to think of our own faults, our own hardships and imperfections than it is to remember that others are imperfect too. It can be especially hard when we interact with someone to remember that they may also be living with pain, with sorrow, with regret. For when you think of your own cracks, the heartache you're trying to heal from, the behavior you wish you would stop, remember that the person next to you, if you're sitting next to someone, the person across the state, city, country, world who is also watching, that person also has cracks, has scars, has heartache. The person you are in love with, the person who you are in anger with, they also have pieces missing. They also have pieces glued in with cracks showing. We need to handle ourselves, and we need to handle each other tenderly, recognizing that we all have those tender spots that need gentle care. We have tender spots, and the inclination sometimes is to ignore them, gloss them over. We want others to gloss over their tender spots. But those places where there's a crack, where there's tenderness, that's how the light gets in. Listen to these lyrics from Anthem by Leonard Cohen. Forget your perfect offering. There is a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. Leonard Cohen's lyric is itself a paraphrasing of the Persian poet Rumi, who says, "The wound is the place where the light enters you." Now, what does that mean? What does that mean that a crack is how the light gets in, or the wound is how the place where the light enters you? For me, letting in the light has two meanings. Two meanings. One, a sort of physical wound, and then one, the more emotional or spiritual wound. So let's look at the physical crack, the tangible opening. If you have a cut on your finger, and it gets dirty, the first thing you do is to clean it out. Good. I'm glad everyone's with me. If you cut your finger and it's dirty, you clean it. And if a wound starts to heal when it is dirty, it gets infected. The wound has to be opened up again then. There must be a space for cleaning to happen before a physical wound can heal. And I know an infected wound is not like the most pleasant mental image right now, But for me, this example makes a lot of sense. A physical wound may need to be opened up to let the light in, may need to be opened up to get the dirt out, the infection out, and clean it. So it may need to be opened before the real healing can happen, can take place. And this happens with emotional wounds too, with emotional cuts and cracks. In therapy and counseling, it's widely recognized that the moments when a person is most open to change is in times of crisis. Humans are not good at change. We're not really good at change as a species. But at those times when everything's going normal, when everything's sort of status quo, it's very hard to make adjustments. This is societal too. A time of crisis, though, when I'm in crisis, when the country is in crisis, possibly reacting to some extreme circumstance, that's when I'm most open to change. That's when communities, countries, world is open to change. It's when we're in crisis. Sometimes it is that experience, that extreme experience, which breaks down the defensive walls enough for me, for the group to see, oh my gosh, I really need to do something differently. This is not working. That's letting the light in through the cracks. And what that means for us, for both types of this healing, is that we need to be aware of our cracks, our brokenness. And we need to be able to have them be places where healing can happen. It's only when I recognize I have a cut that I can clean it out. I have to recognize the cut before I can clean it out and put an antibiotic on it. Only when I recognize my own feelings, my failings, my hurt, my pain, can I let friends in. Can I let family, a therapist, a doctor, a beloved community to help and heal. Listen to these words from Rabbi Bradley Artson. He's dean of the Ziegler School of Rabbinic Studies at American Jewish University. This life is not for the perfect. It is not for the flawless. It is not for the whole. If you are like me, there are parts of you that are very good, and there are parts of you that are aching. There are parts of you that strive and fall short. There are parts of you that feel broken. Those are the parts that let in the light. Don't run from your imperfections. Don't hide from your brokenness. Broken bones regrow stronger at the very location where they are broken. Those are the spots where the light shines through. I think this is part of the crux of our mission as a faith community and the question of how to do it. We are called to be compassionate, to nourish minds and spirits, to spread love. We are called to help heal the world we live in. Yet we are broken. We are all broken. We are all in need of healing. So how do we heal without coming from a place of perfection? How are we compassionate when we also need compassion? How do we heal each other, ourselves, and the world when we need that healing? Rabbi Artson said, "Don't hide from your brokenness. Those are the spots where the light will shine through." Just like the broken jar, where the light was not coming in, the light was shining through, shining out, not shining in, as Rumi and Leonard Cohen talked about. It's even more important that light can get in your cracks and in your brokenness and in those little places of hurt and pain. Our light shines out through our brokenness, through our imperfections. This is how we can heal, how we can be compassionate from a place of brokenness, from a place of pain. For I can only comprehend what someone else may be going through. I can only comprehend someone else's pain and sorrow and heartache because I, too, have my sorrows, my heartache, my despairs. I can relate to you because I also am human. You have pain. I have pain too. This is where it's helpful to remember that we are humans together, that we have weakness, we have faults, that we are all broken. We are vulnerable and open. When we can get to that vulnerable and open place, We can show each other our brokenness, the cracks that don't quite fit, the pieces missing. That's when there's space for compassion, for healing, and empathy. When we pretend to be perfect, we build walls of distance. We build walls of indifference. We need that space for compassion, conversation, and understanding. And that space is created by being vulnerable, by showing our brokenness, by showing the places where we also need healing. One doesn't even have to share the same exact experience to be a healing presence, but one does have to be vulnerable, to open up and share in the imperfections of being human. And here I have a video for you from the renowned writer, storyteller, and research professor Dr. Brene Brown. Dr. Brene Brown has spent more than a decade researching vulnerability, courage, worthiness, and shame. So she knows what she's talking about, both personally and professionally.
So what is empathy, and why is it very different than sympathy? Empathy fuels connection. Sympathy drives disconnection. Empathy, it's very interesting. Teresa Wiseman is a nursing scholar who studied professions, very diverse professions where empathy is relevant, and came up with 4 qualities of empathy. Perspective taking, the ability to take the perspective of another person or recognize their perspective as their truth. Staying out of judgment, not easy when you enjoy it as much as most of us do. Recognizing emotion in other people and then communicating that. Empathy is feeling with people. And to me, I always think of empathy as this kind of sacred space when someone's kind of in a deep hole and they shout out from the bottom and they say, I'm stuck, it's dark, I'm overwhelmed. And then we look and we say, hey, climb down. I know what it's like down here, and you're not alone. Sympathy is, ooh, it's bad, no, you want a sandwich? Empathy is a choice, and it's a vulnerable choice, because in order to connect with you, I have to connect with something in myself that knows that feeling. Rarely, if ever, does an empathic response begin with at least. Yeah. And we do it all the time. Because you know what? Someone just shared something with us that's incredibly painful, and we're trying to silver lining it. I don't think that's a verb, but I'm using it as one. We're trying to put the silver lining around it. So, I had a miscarriage. Oh, at least you know you can get pregnant. I think my marriage is falling apart. At least you have a marriage. John's getting kicked out of school. At least Sarah is an A student. But one of the things we do sometimes in the face of very difficult conversations is we try to make things better. If I share something with you that's very difficult, I'd rather you say, I don't even know what to say right now, I'm just so glad you told me. Because the truth is, rarely can a response make something better. What makes something better is connection.
This is the essence of healing from a place of brokenness. The essence is that there is really no other way. We must heal from a place of brokenness. We are striving for empathy, for feeling with people. And only when we also recognize our own vulnerability can we do that. Healing from brokenness, empathy, is a vulnerable choice. As Brene Brown says, in order to connect with you, I need to connect with that feeling in myself. This is the essence of being broken and letting that light shine out. The world is broken. We are all broken. That is where our compassion comes from. We heal from the deep place of recognizing our faults, recognizing our misgivings and our hurts and reaching out in empathy and love to each other and to the world. Amen.
Please join me in a spirit of giving. Today our special collection will go to Planned Parenthood. Planned Parenthood has stayed open during the pandemic, caring for patients while making sure the staff and patients stay safe. Planned Parenthood of Delaware is a healthcare facility with 3 clinics in Wilmington, Newark, and Dover, with the hopes of opening a 4th location in Sussex County. Here is Ruth Barnaby to tell you more.
Hi, I'm Ruth Lytle Barnaby, President and CEO of Planned Parenthood of Delaware. I wanted to take this moment to assure you that we're still here. We still have our doors open to all who need us. We know that during these unprecedented times, that people that have no income, little income, no insurance, and most particularly people of color, have a very difficult time getting health care right now. We want to assure you that our doors are open for all who come to them and that we're here to provide essential health services. We want to thank you, our donors and supporters, for your time, your words of encouragement, your support, and for really helping us continue to fight the cause. Thank you for all that you do. We want you and your family to stay healthy, and we hope to see you in person very soon.
Checks can be mailed to the church office, or you can donate online. Choose Sunday Collection as the account for the Planned Parenthood donations. Please recite the words printed on your screen. To the work of this congregation, which is weaving a tapestry of love and action, we dedicate our lives and these our offerings.
In the rain, blinded, I'll show you an way back home. But don't you worry, 'cause I've been with you all along.
Oh, I ain't worried, 'cause I can feel it, Yeah, they said it's hard to really see it, and the reason why we living. Don't chase it with your eyes, can recognize it till it's given. The world in front of me became the molding of my vision. The pain that came to me is what I blame on my decisions. How can I find the courage when my heart is feeling missing? How do I find a time when I know that the clock is ticking? I'm a soldier for this love, is guaranteed to be my mission. Wish I could find it easy like I see it in the children, hey. Looking back as I move forward, Sankofa, I want a love that explodes, call it a supernova. What it takes to reach the heavens, let me stand closer. Put the pieces all together, witness Jehovah. God is patient with his son, he plant the seed and let it grow. When I love it unconditional, I learn to let it go. Open your arms, what I'm talking about. Without a doubt, I can feel the love reaching out.
Love reaches out. My love reaches out. Love reaches out. Love reaches out.
My love reaches out.
Love
Can you feel it?
reaches out.
Yeah. I'm never giving up, I'm keeping cool, I'm in control. My praise, I give it up, a higher power's in control. This light is guiding me, I'm armed with everything I know. This love is getting closer, I can feel it in my soul. Long as I am living, I still got the time to show the patience that was given from the ones that let me grow. Forgive me for debating back and forth, to and fro. This love is reaching out, I'm giving it to you and yours. Walk with me in solidarity. My sanctuary eases my disparity. When I look into your eyes, I'm looking carefully. What do you know? There is me. No more questioning the things that I can never see. Touch, taste, smell, hear, no more mystery. Just a faith that's stronger than my pain and misery. I found it in myself and I will forever be. The breath of love that gave me the breath of life. A breath of life, spirits give it back and I energize. If I never take another, let my voice come and speak it out. And give you the feeling of love reaching out.
Love reaches out.
Yes, it does.
My love reaches
And I can feel it, I can feel it, I can feel it, hey.
reaches out. My love reaches
Can you
out.
hear it, can you hear it, can you hear it now?
Reaches out.
Oh yes it does.
My love reaches
Can you
out.
feel it, can you feel it, can you feel it, hey.
Reaches out. My love reaches
Can you hear it, can you hear it, can you hear it now?
Love can change you, let it grow. The seeds will reap the love you sow. Fill your heart till it explodes, and love can take over your soul. Love opens doors without a key. He falls through patience and honesty. Trust love and just let it be. Feel the power of love between you and me. Between you and me. Between you and me. Feel the power of love between you and me. Love
Sing it
reaches
loud.
My love reaches out. Reaches out.
Yes, it does.
My love reaches
Can you
out.
feel it, can you feel it, can you feel it now?
Reaches out. My love reaches out.
Can you hear it, can you hear it, can you hear it
Reaches
now?
out. My love reaches out. Love
from your soul.
Our closing words are from Thich Nhat Hanh. In a time of anger or despair, even if we feel overwhelmed, our love is still there. Our capacity to communicate, to forgive, to be compassionate is still there. You have to believe this. We are more than our anger. We are more than our suffering. We must recognize that we do have within us the capacity to love, to understand, to be compassionate, always. Amen and blessed be.
We now extinguish this chalice, but not our faith. Go in peace.